Scooby-Doo. That's an old cartoon. I think they're still around, though. It's been around for many years. Anybody remember Felix the Cat? I think he's still around sometimes. We played Monster Mash. I want to play something else right now. Where is that? There we go. This is a rendition of God Bless America, sung by an old-timer, Tex Ritter.
God bless America again. You must know the trouble that she's in. Wash her pretty face, dry her eyes, and then God bless America again. You know, I wish God would bless America again, like he did way back there when it all began. He blessed her then, but we sort of took it for granted and didn't ask again. So let's just kind of hold her hand now, that's all. In case she stumbles, let's don't let her fall. God bless America again. You must know the trouble that she's in. Wash her pretty face, dry her eyes, and then God bless America again. I don't understand everything I read and hear about what's wrong with America. When you don't have a lot of book learning, there's many things you don't understand. But I know this much, she's like a mother to me. I love her with all my heart. And let me tell you this, mister, everything I am or ever hope to be, I owe to her. God bless America again. You must know the trouble that she's in. Wash her pretty face, dry her eyes, and then God bless America again. Oh, please, God bless America again.
All right, that's Tex Ritter. And we're talking, today about retirement. People who are ready for the retirement, people who are looking forward to retirement, people who will never be able to retire.
Well, I have to tell you, when I was a teacher, we used to do a poem called The Bean Eaters. And I know I said this before, not on tonight's show, but last year over the course of doing the show with you, Felix, about an elderly couple who are retired, whose children are grown and have moved away. And the poem alludes to the fact that when they were younger and the children relied heavily upon them, they felt needed, they felt useful, they felt like their life had meaning and purpose. But now, look, it's called the Bean Eaters. The people are eating off of tin plates, No, they're not in prison, but they're eating off of tin plates. Very simple food. Beans. They're eating beans. You know, how much more simpler can you get than Franks and beans? Or pork and beans with those 1 or 2 pieces of pork and the rest is just beans. This is what they ate. No one comes to visit anymore.
Well, it probably smells like hell in the house of eating all those beans.
Well, I mean, I know that we're trying to make light of a serious issue. You're trying to make light of a serious issue, but, as a senior citizen, even if your children live locally, you don't get to see your children that much. They have lives of their own. You don't get to see the grandchildren that much. And in most cases, you really don't control when you can see them. You may call up and say, hey, what's going on? And they're too busy for you.
Well, there's got to be a fine balance. My wife sees her parents quite often because
you're talking about, thank God, as much of a burden as it is, especially since your wife is ill, you're talking about our generation. I remember when my grandfather was alive, my father was over there all the time, every Sunday in the nursing home. He would bring him chopped liver, he would bring him chicken soup, he would feed him, he would spend an afternoon or a day with him because he worked during the week. I'm talking about kids the age of your son and daughter or my children's age, and I look at them and I say, it's never going to happen. I remember when my son was going to Johnson & Wales to be a chef, and I would say to him, when I get to be Papa's age, because that's what we used to call my father, I said, are you going to have...
Papa. Now you're Papa.
I said, that's right. I said that at my father's funeral, But I said, when I get to be Papa's age, you going to have room for me in your house? And he put his arm around me and he said, Dad, he said, I'll bring you dinner every night from my restaurant. That was when he was going to be a chef. Now he's a cop. So
he brings you a bullet every night.
I don't want bullets, But the bottom line is, that's what he said. And when I look at my other children, one is in Ohio. The one upstate we don't talk to. She doesn't talk to us. And my other son
lives with you.
Well, he lives with us, but the bottom line is eventually he wants to make it out to the coast, and I don't know when I'll get to see him.
No, seeing the way he is, I don't see him going to the coast for a long time.
Well, you may be right about that.
He's got to get out of the house first.
But that's his ultimate goal, okay?
Well, that's good. No, I mean, I'm just joking, Cool.
That's his ultimate goal. But the bottom line is, and for that reason alone, my friend down in Florida took out a policy for he and his wife for elder care, so that when they get to be old, they can have a choice between going into an assisted living facility or having the people come to them in their home so they could stay in familiar surroundings at home. But he can afford that. Not everybody can afford that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then again, some people have children that they could rely on. Children that may have an extra bedroom.
My wife's in-laws, her husband's brother took in his father when his wife passed away, and he gave him, and he has an apartment with him, which is really nice. It's like the old days. He took him in, built an apartment for him, and he's there. My wife's friend Janet is having an apartment built on top of her house.
Her daughter's house.
Her daughter's house, yeah. So she has a place. Well, actually, she's going to live on the bottom floor, but it doesn't matter. But they're building an extra section to the house, so the mother could live with the kids and the grandkids. So it's still happening. It's just not our kids. You know.
Well, but you see, there are ulterior motives now with our children's generation, and that is for young couples to afford the American dream. And that, of course, is a house with a white picket fence. Okay, you need husband and wife both to be working at full-time jobs. And if husband and wife are going to be working at full-time jobs and they live within a 30-minute drive from their parents, the grandparents in many cases become the caretakers and babysitters for their grandchildren. You just walk into any fast food restaurant between 12 and 2, and you see grandparents pushing carriages, strollers, busying the children. Or if you go into a library, you see grandparents with strollers taking their grandchildren to the library for book reading, if they're old enough, whatever it is. Okay, so our generation now becomes the babysitters for our grandchildren, our children's children, just so our children can be able to afford a house.
Yeah, well, my wife and I always worked all the years, and my mother babysat mostly for my kids. It's just...
well, when you lived in Queens, you didn't live too far.
When I lived in Queens, I lived right the same, it was a 3-family house, like, the old days. You live in one,
and I remember...
kids live in another, and then you have one apartment that brings a little income.
I remember in East New York, where my father's parents lived, they always rented. But they were on the second floor. It was, a 3 or a 4-story walk-up. My grandparents were on the second floor, and my aunt and uncle were on the 3rd floor with their 2 sons. And my aunt worked, my grandparents had a candy store, so they were always in the candy store. And I guess if they looked after my 2 cousins, they were in the candy store as well. When they came home from school or whatever.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, our phone number is 646-595-3275. If you want to give us a call, talk about your retirement plans or
what you envision retirement, what you would like retirement to be for you.
Or if you're the more lonely person in our chat room, want to tell us what your ideas of retirement are, let us know. We can't, we'll answer anything you want to know, or we'll read what you have to say, but you have to write something in the chat room. Show like today, the chat room is not really busting with
Well, that's okay. I'd rather have it this way than the way it was on Friday, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, Friday we had a whole bunch of hecklers.